Testing. Sweet. Ever since I turned, I don't know, ever since year 12, or really, when was it? 2 years ago. But has it been 2 years? Maybe it was year 12. I'm not sure. But sometime around 1 to 2 years ago, but mostly when I entered year 12, my life changed a lot. I lost someone very special to me, and high school was real. I never took it that seriously. I mean, I did, but not as much now. But it's also caused me to change a lot, and for the good. I have learned, I used to be one incompetent child. Ever till I was, I would say 16 really, I had accomplished almost nothing. I got some decent grades, at least in my hand-ins, and I knew some piano. That was it though. And I just occasionally running. Anyways, nothing worth mentioning. And things I barely run these days. I don't do a piano anymore. What am I even talking about? Really, what I want to talk about is that I don't know what I want to do when I grow up, you know? I feel competent, much more competent than I used to. And now I feel that my time, it needs to be spent better. I mean, ever since that I've, been moving away from media, and actually spending more time doing productive things, and getting into new hobbies like photography, it's opened my eyes a lot. I've learned so much, and time feels much more valuable these days, and I'm much more concentrated, and I love it. But it's also, and now I'm thinking about the future so much, and I want to spend my time the best I can. And I want to know, what am I going to do? What is going to be the thing I do till I retire for good, I've had thoughts, and I know for a fact I don't want to work under someone. I may work under someone, and I have in the past for some jobs. But at the end, my last career, I want to be my own boss. I don't want to work for someone else. Definitely not. I believe that if you work for yourself, then you have so much more control and power over yourself. And your bosses, I don't have to deal with them. I'm my own boss. Now, truthfully, this does bring a whole bunch of other problems, but also a whole bunch of other benefits. I control my holidays. I control my weekends. I can somewhat control my wage. I just don't want to work under someone. But then what am I going to do? Well, I don't know. That's the problem. I have a few ideas for businesses, but is that what I want to do though? Do I want to make a software company? I've had a few ideas for software, but programming looks freaking scary. I mean, it's like, I don't know if I'll be good at programming. Is programming even going to be worth it? Because there's AI, and I don't know. What if they do a better job than we can? I don't know. And that also I'm scared of, what if AI takes away opportunities? I'm also scared of that, and I feel that I have to account for that. What else could I do other than make a software company? Well, I'd really like to make a tech company, But you don't just make a tech company. You got to start. Well, you can just make a tech company. That's what Steve Jobs did. I look up to him a lot. But he started small, and I don't know how I'm going to start small. There's being a YouTuber. I've always been fascinated from a very young age into them. Because I grew up with them. Jacksepticeye, Dan TDM, even a bit of 8-Bit Ryan. A whole lot of that. And I like it, but is that I wanna live a life that's better than most. I wanna live like my grandpa. My grandpa is sick. I'm so grateful for the family I have. They are amazing. They provide so much, and they're so caring. I am so grateful that I'm a part of this family. And every time I see someone else at worse than me, I feel like that the opportunity that I've been given, I cannot waste it. I must accomplish something big. And I also like my grandpa, because he is a business owner. He lives in a nice house. He gets to travel a lot. He lives a nice life, and I want to live a life like that. I don't want to have a job. I mean, I feel like if you have a job, you can be limited. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want a job. Perhaps I could climb the corporate ladder and become like a co-CEO. I know a family member who did that, and it's pretty neat, but is that what I want to do? Back to YouTubers. I think they have potential. I mean, for myself, I could play games for fun and get paid. Sounds too good to be true. Somewhat. I mean, I do know it's not something you just do. You can't just live off YouTube. That takes years till you can actually get an uprising and get enough ad revenue to survive. And even so, will that provide the luxuries I desire? And what if I have an obsession too much of material? I think what if I'm too materialistic? Maybe I'm focusing on that too much, because I do have an obsession of tech. Another thing, maybe instead of doing gaming YouTube, I could do tech YouTube. I have a few things I can review in my house, and tech YouTubing has some serious potential. If I could get into that, I'd be very pleased, because I love tech. It is so fascinating. I love sci-fi. And technology is like a way to tap into that in the present. What am I gonna do? The reason I'm making this video is because I'm so unplanned and unstructured. I'm sorry about how messy this is. It's because there's actually it was actually a reel that inspired me and actually gave me the realization. I already had this idea in the back of my head, but I never truly realized it. And it was a scene from Ex Machina, or Ex Mecha? Something about like the robot lady and whatever. And he clipped a scene where one of the characters asked, what would an artist do if they had to, what would happen if an artist had to think about every single brushstroke? And the protagonist responds, nothing. The canvas would be empty. And I've heard so many other times that if you want to do content creation, you just got to do it. And I even read Atomic Habits, and the thing they mention is being stuck in motion and not action. Motion being planning, action actually doing it and posting it and stuff like that. And And that's why I'm making this so unstructured, because if I plan too much, I'm probably never gonna get around to that. I have done that. I have planned videos. I've even recorded some, but never got around to editing and posting them because I was too obsessed with the planning and not enough of the action. Although this runs into an issue, I might be jumping ahead of the gun too much. If I think of someone I really admire, I look up to Steve Jobs a lot. He is so accomplished, and he has revolutionized so much of what we are just have. We just have touchscreens. That's just the standard now. I don't know how much longer that would have taken if we didn't have Steve Jobs for that technology to be the standard, and stuff like that. And I realized that Steve Jobs didn't know what he wanted to do for a really long time. I mean, he did high school, he dropped out of that, then I believe he did university for like 2 years, but even after that, university didn't solve his problems. He still didn't know what he wanted to do. He was such an interesting man. I wish I got to meet him. Although he also sounded really scary. I mean, he sounds really harsh and mean in some scenes, in some pages. What am I gonna do? I might just make a few videos about what the heck am I gonna do. And the reason I'm making this is just because I am interested in content creation. And I gotta start somehow, so I might as well just make this video. Just something to get the ball rolling. Now it's just a matter of uploading these. I don't know what to think. What am I gonna do? What was I thinking? I was thinking business, but how do I start? What business is the right business? I want to do tech, yet I've tinkered with fixing lenses before, but that was a pretty simple job. I was never much into engineering, but nor was Steve Jobs much into engineering. And yet he made a product, and that's because he had friends that could help him. I would also love to have an engineering friend. My God, if I had a friend who does engineering, that would be sick. I don't know. I want to spend my time well while I can. I wanna get to where I wanna be as soon as possible. I wanna be on the track to where I will stay. And I wanna know that I'm not wasting my time. I wanna know that what I do 3D, am I gonna keep that? Have I been wasting my time doing that? Should I have just stick to photography entirely? I don't know. Maybe I just have to wait. But I don't want to wait. I want to know now. Well, I think this is coming to an end. See ya.